Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks for clicking on the video. This is David Pendleton, and I'm going to cover a preliminary kind of like walkthrough or a refresher of the Drumore Leagues tournament, as we have that coming up in a 9-hole cup this week. So the last time we played this was in the St. Patrick's Day tournament. It can be a challenging course at times, but depending on wind angles, sometimes it can actually be easy. So we will see what happens. Let's go ahead and take a look at hole number 1 here. Hole number 1 is going to start us off with a par 4, and this is going to be a look at a headwind with a navigator ball. Basically what we do is we just aim down the center of the fairway on this one, which is going to leave us for a rough bump opportunity for the eagle. You can see I put my yellow ring on the rough line here for reference point. We do make our pull. And of course, lower level clubs might want to think about using like maybe a katana or even a Titan ball, getting that power 3 in the headwind. But as far as the drive goes, going to be very simple. For some newer players or some players that aren't great at rough bumps, it's going to be the second shot that's going to be more challenging. Here we're playing at minus 20% at mid. So it's always good when we have replays saved because it gives us a refresher or something to start with. So instead of normally starting at 0 and then working our way through practice mode, here we know that we have a drop shot at minus 20% at mid distance of our club. We have the spin adjustments to look at. We can see here that a little bit of the yellow ring is sitting on the fairway with the rest of it nicely tucked into the rough. We make our adjustments. We hit a perfect ball, and it's always nice being able to pick up a drop here to start off a tournament, and hopefully that's what's going to happen for us on Thursday. As you can see, we get this one dead center of cup, so hole number 1 looks like a good chance for an eagle. Hole number 2 for me is one of the tougher par 3s in the game. You do get a weird bounce here, when we're shooting this shot going towards the pin, but we're using a backbone and we're using a navigator ball. We take a look at our spin adjustments. It looks like we go 1 bar a side spin to the left in this wind angle. And then from there, it's just about finding the right backspin and then looking at the green squares to get ourselves lined up. So when it comes to my walkthrough on Thursday, that's what I'll really be doing on hole number 2, is I'm going to be referencing green squares to try to get all of us on the same page. Most rookie players are using a backbone, which is why I go with a backbone on par 3s in rookie instead of something like the Grizzly. Obviously, if you're a more experienced rookie player and you have a Grizzly club, you're going to be better off, with ball guidelines and things of that nature. But you can see there we go into the cup and we bounce out, giving us a good reference point in case we get a tailwind blowing with a slight crosswind left to right. We know we have one line we can use. That'll take us on to our first par 5, hole number 3. We're going to play with quarterback here. This is going to be a tailwind approach for some players. With lower level clubs, obviously, if we have good level extra miles, we could easily go from the first fairway to the next fairway. But this is going to be a safe, conservative option, which I'm focusing on this replay. We will have replays to where we're able to take a ball and slam it up the fairway and get even more distance. But keep in mind, this is going to be for lower level club players that are sitting here playing with low level extra miles. We do have a nice quarterback option to show you to lay up on, which will also show you how to pick up the eagle on this par 5. So from here, we would be using a big dog if we're laying up. This is a long par 5, so you can see here that even with using a big dog, we are at max distance of our club. And this is a big dog level 8, which a lot of rookie players won't have. I've just been playing rookie forever since I started doing YouTube, and that's just where these clubs are at. But you can see here we're using a little bit of overpower, a little bit of curl to the right. We do hit a perfect ball. And really, we could kind of tap off the backspin or the top spin and maybe even add a little bit of backspin, but it's nice to see that we do have a nice little eagle shot here on hole number 5 on hole number 3. And just keep in mind that obviously if I get that same wind angle in a tournament upcoming, I won't be playing that shot. I'll be playing to go from fairway to fairway and get more yards on the drive. This is going to be hole number 4 here. Looks like we have a headwind angle. This is a bounce over shot Typically, the par threes on Drumore links are a little bit more difficult to dial in than other courses. So I do see that Golf Clash is probably trying to tame down the scores a little bit since we're coming off a very, very high scoring week on our tournament this week, the Beer Fest tournament, which featured Eagle Peak. All right, so here again, this is going to have to be a situation to once I figure out the spin adjustments coming up in the tournament upcoming. We're going to be referencing green squares. We're going to be referencing something like yellow ring on the rough line as I set it up there. And then from there, it'll be about hitting perfect and hopefully that we're able to duplicate something good. But it's nice to see here this green rolls a little bit fast, and we just burned the left edge of the cup there. Absolute perfect speed, so it's nice to see that we're going to have some reference points to start off with. Here's another look at hole number 4. Again, headwind, this time a little bit higher headwind, 3.6, getting up on the higher end scale of rookie. It does look like we're going with 1 bar side spin to the left. That'll be good reference. It also appears that we're going with a little bit of top spin as well. I do like this course in the sense that I can see the green squares pretty decently. It's not perfect, but it will be pretty decent to replicate and take a look at what we're looking at here. But same thing. Let's take a look and see how this shot came in. We hit perfect, which is always important. Speed looks great. And on this one, we just burned the right edge of the cup. So it looks like we're all over the pin on hole number 4. It'll just come into dialing it in on whatever wind angle we get upcoming. Hole number 5, I do have a few replays to show you here. I mean, this is going to be tailwind. This is a great time to get yourself a berserker ball here and really go for, that fairway at the top. One way we can do that is to go with 6 bars of top spin. And you can see there that when I stretch up, I'm able to bounce over onto that other fairway above the water and then hopefully roll on to the next area. I do push back up. That'll be something that I will explain in the upcoming tournament on how I knew to push up 1 ring there. If we have the same wind angle, then I'll spend a little bit of time explaining that. But you can see here, it was perfect. And we do roll through, getting ourselves onto the fringe for a really nice eagle opportunity there on hole number 5. And that's in tailwind. Here's another look at it in tailwind. This time we go with a little bit of a different route. So if somebody doesn't want to go super aggressive there and is afraid of putting one in the water, here we can just utilize the left side of the fairway, being a much safer shot. As you can see, when we push up there, we're about 1.5 rings into overpower. Now from there, I'm just trying to look at the rough. So you saw I had my second bounce kind of in the rough up there on the top part of the screen. We hit a perfect ball. We got our bounce right here. And exactly what I wanted to do was clip that rough and roll out. That's what I was looking at when I was slowing down the shot there. And that'll leave us for an Embringer shot to get this one in the hole. Here it looks like I played at 0% at mid. Now, the thing about it is obviously, I like the first shot better. Yes, it's more dangerous, but it's a lot easier chipping in from the fringe or possibly putting in for an eagle than it is taking these longer wedge shots. But at the end of the day, rookie division, 2.8 mile per hour wind on a wind resistance 1 ball is very low. So we're a little lucky in that nature, but still we're going to be able to make this shot, in any wind scenario in rookie. That's a couple different looks at hole number 5, and now we'll hop into, looks like we have one more replay. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, this is going to be a headwind, so looks like I spent a little bit of extra time here on hole number 5 to show different options. So what do we do if we get headwind and we're not able to go for green? Looks like we could play the left-hand side, or we could play the right-hand side, which is what I choose to do here. A katana is a great opportunity to use for this course here. This is a very short par 4, so it's not like we would need to waste ourselves a kingmaker. We would only use a kingmaker if you have a bunch of them and this was the final round and you were looking to win the tournament by reducing the wind by quite a bit to make shot number 2 easier, right? But you see here, we're just going over the rough and landing very nicely on the fairway, which is probably going to leave us for a rough bump opportunity to drop shot number 2. Looks like we're playing 10% at mid. We have our thorn out. Ooh, looks like we're barely able to get it there, so we're going to have to probably back it up. I didn't really study any of these replays before I just started making this video. I just kind of put everything in order from hole to hole, and I thought we were going to go with the rough bump there, but it looks like we're not. We're going to go with a bounce over shot with the thorn. It still looks like a pretty good opportunity to drop here. The only thing that we don't like is the wind angle. It's always hard dropping shots like this when we have when we have headwind mixed with crosswind. Came in a little fast there, but we do pick up the eagle. So hole number 5, just all across the board, looks like a great chance to pick up a shot. That'll take us to hole number 6. This is the one with the skinny fairway, in which we need to have, really a perfect shot in order to make sure that we don't get stuck in the rough, or really worst case scenario, the sand. So anytime you play a hole like this will be some tournament advice that I don't really talk about. Let's say that you do hit a bad drive, which is going to happen. I mean, we all do it. I do it. What if we accidentally get stuck in the rough or the sand? You should prepare before the hole by bringing your most powerful sand wedge and your most powerful rough iron, okay? That way, just in case you do that, you have a chance to get yourself to the green or close to the green as possible for a chip in. If you're a tour player in between tournaments, you're probably not playing with a club like the Amazon, right? Which has super duper high power, but it has a crappy ball guideline. I would make sure that before you play these types of holes, that when we do have an opportunity on a bad drive, we could get stuck in sand or rough, that you do fix your bag to put your most powerful clubs in there to bail you out if needed. And then, of course, remember to change them back if you go play regular tour play. That's not really a tip of advice I talk about ever, but I think this hole has bit me in the past before, so I kind of remember that whenever I get to this hole, especially in pro. But here, this is pretty simple. We just drive this ball straight down the fairway. The second shot, on this one, sometimes we can play a rough bump, but it's inconsistent. Sometimes we can just attack the pin straight at the pin. I normally try to attack the pin. I've just had it in the past where that rough, I get stuck in it, or it just doesn't roll out the way that I want it to. So for me, I like going right at the pin just to sort of see what happens. And this is just a refresher. This is just, if we can reference this video, or if I can reference this video before I play, I'm like, oh, wow, I have this wind angle, and we had that in the St. Patrick's Day tournament. It just gives me a good idea of where to start, which hopefully, in the long run will save balls and practice tokens over time. So that's one look at it. Here's a direct headwind option. Direct headwind on this hole, it would be better to play with the Kingmaker. It would be best to even play with ourselves like a Berserker just to make sure that we get that distance and we make this shot even easier. But here we do go with, obviously the Kingmaker. We back our target up a little bit just to make sure that we're able to accurately pull our rings. That'll be no problem from way back here, because we can go all the way to the plus 16 with an extra mile 8 and a P3 ball. There, when we pulled our rings, we went to a plus 11, so we really did leave some power behind on this shot. But that's the most important thing, is that we sneak it right there between the skinny gap of the fairway, and we just land up here, because if we do that, we can typically always get to the green in 2. Now you're going to see here we're playing a 1-to-1. It looks like this may be a rough bump shot that I'm going with. Nope, that looks like I back it up. So we're going to go right at the pin. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the rough bump here. It looks like I have a big offset on this hole too. So we'll see where this comes in at. If this offset ends up working out, then that's going to be a great time saver at the end of the day. Well, we hit a great shot, so we're not going to learn too much from it. But let's see what happens with the offset. Oh, yeah, look at that. The ball does come in towards the pin. Lost a little bit of power with a great. So there's another really great reference point So if I ever get that wind angle, again, with the headwind blowing from right to left, I might be able to kind of set that shot up and see what happens. Instead of going straight at the pin, that's a refresher to know, hey, wait a minute, we need a pretty good offset on this hole to get close to the albatross. That takes us here to hole number 7. Hole number 7, I think we have a couple different looks. This is headwind blowing from left to right. This is going to be yet another bounce over shot in which we probably are going to have to reference our rings down here. So it looks like we're putting the yellow ring on the rough maybe. And then, that one's hard to see the green squares. Hopefully, looks like I was playing this on a different iPad. Looks like the clarity is not as good. So hopefully this week during the deep sea tournament, we'll have a better visual of the green squares to look at. All right, here we make our wind adjustment. Let's see what happens when we come in here. We're going to burn the right edge of the cup. So very, very close on that one. Looks like we have another angle at it here. This one's completely different. This time we're going to have tailwind. So what do we do in tailwind? It looks like we use a little bit of backspin. It looks like we're putting our red ring on the rough this time just to account for the wind push. Obviously, we want to use a little bit more spacing. Instead of putting the yellow ring on the rough, we put the red ring on the rough, it looks like. And I'm probably doing that to make sure we don't accidentally carry into the rough and clip it. That would be dangerous. The clarity of this video is not good on this replay here. Perfect ball, and this time we burn the opposite edge of the cup. Well, it gives us a good starting point to figure out hole number 7. That takes us to hole number 8. This replay looks a lot better. All right, hole number 8, a little bit of tailwind here. Looks like we're using a navigator ball. Probably don't have the opportunity to get to the green unless we're using some type of top spin boost balls. Looks like our tournament are try not to get distracted by our opponent there. It does look like they were way up there on the rough though, close to the green area. Perfect ball. So this one comes in nicely down the fairway as well. Leaves us here for shot number 2. 10% at mid. This will be a thorn shot. Yep. So from here, it's just going to be about getting the backspin right. Making sure our ball is bouncing into the hole. Again, definitely not the easiest wind angle to drop shots in. We're getting crosswind mixed with headwind. We would prefer 3 options: direct tailwind, direct crosswind, or direct headwind. Anytime you start to throw in the crosswinds combination with those, the drops become much more difficult. But here, looks like we get a perfect ball. And we get the slow roll into the cup for an eagle. So we do see there are some drops in this tournament that can be had. All right, hole number 9. Show you a couple different replays, I'm sure. This is my favorite way to go in hole number 9. This is that little trick shot where we use these little rocks or whatever you want to call those things, and we bounce off of them to get to the fairway up top. If we're able to execute that drive, we take what is a very long par 5, and we're able to get to the green in 2. To whereas when we have to lay up before this water, it becomes a very, very long hole. You see here, we use these things to kick ourselves through, and we roll out. That was with the Kingmaker. We can make that shot even easier with the Berserker in headwind. So you can see here that even when we do that, look how far we have to go to get to the pin. A Horizon club would be better to use here because it has more power and still has a good ball guideline. If you're a lower level club player, you're going to have to use a Horizon, or you're going to have to use a big dog to get yourself up there. Because you can see here that even with the Sniper 10, even going over the water, I'm having to use overpower to get myself to the green. The good thing is we have a lot of fairway to work with here, and we have a lot of green. And we do go zooming past the hole, so we can take a little bit off that shot if we need to upcoming. So here's another look at the hole. This will be, in this wind angle, we could have easily made it over the rocks, but it looks like I probably played this one conservatively. last time to give lower level players another look. So here we use our quarterback, and we do that for accuracy purposes and ball guideline. Great club to be accurate with. You see here we hit a perfect ball, and then we'll see what club we end up using for shot number 2, because this is going to be very long distance to get to the green. More than likely it'll be a big dog, or it's going to be a horizon. Okay, so it's going to be a horizon club, and you can see here we just have a mile to go. That's why we like the horizon. We get that great top spin. We leave lots of room here for a great shot. You can see I'm leaving room at the top, the left, and right of the rough. Just using a click of overpower, it looks like, and that's a nasty great shot to the right, so it's a good thing I left room to mess up. And here, you know, we're trying to catch this slope down at the bottom to try to roll towards down to the green, but we don't get it. We need to push that shot a little bit harder. But in case that happens, let's take a look at what shot number 3 looks like in case you do that. Looks like we're looking for the downhill slope to pin, but it's not going to happen. So whenever we go full top spin with our wedges and we cannot get a consistent ball guideline, it is not beneficial to play that shot. We need to play this now like we would any other time we're trying to drop a shot and just attack the pin in a regular fashion. Hopefully we hit perfect here, and hopefully this ball goes in the hole. I don't think I would have saved the replay if it didn't go in the hole. Perfect ball, and it is dead center for the eagle there. So there's another look for lower level players. And that's it, everybody. I'm going to see you Thursday for qualifying for Rookie and Pro. I hope you found this, helpful. If so, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Have a great day.